It's Friday, September 30th, 2022. I'm in this whatever frame, I suppose, or area. Um, Something's just not sitting right with me. I'm thinking over the Frank Falco to Tiafrio like baton, almost like an Olympic baton when they're doing a relay. I'm thinking, why would Tiafrio follow me? After that, I'm thinking of some of the meetings, some of the characteristics, some of the situations I was brought into. I'm thinking of when I began my work at Chase and met Sarah. And then Sarah came over with this guy, Jay. Not 1976 Jay, a different Jay. My kids were with Jay. And then I'm reeling it back. And I'm like, all right, this started when I was young. I was in Oyster Bay. And I got hit with something. And I woke up dizzy and spinning in Oyster Bay, which is Saladino's territory. Saladino and I went to Cold Spring Harbor High School together, or so he said he went there. I don't really know. He was dating Tyler Pecora, all I know. But when I went to St. Dominic's, they have a big sign in Oyster Bay that says Town Supervisor with that name. But I wound up on Santarelli's lawn with the fire department. They said I was drinking, but I wasn't. I don't know what happened. And then I wound up on someone's lawn. That was the first occurrence that I can kind of, sort of, but not really remember of strange things that have happened in Long Island in my life frame. Then something happened in Jamaica, but Maria and I never talked about it again. It was a blackout, and then just woke up in my hotel room, and we just went about our whatever. But I have no memory of it, and I was in the foreign whatever territory. So that's high school, that's college. Then something happened after Benjamin was born. I was working at something called Merrill Lynch in Great Neck. First real job that I had first of many dead-end jobs that I had. Peter had a client, went by the name of Mike Kelly. He invited us to a Christmas party. He wanted Peter's staff to be there. I don't remember if Kathy Gorman went, and Sandy was there. We met at some place in Smithtown. I went in. The really good-looking whatever was there with the gray trousers and the black leather whatever with the red card on it. I spoke to him. I didn't drink, but I spoke to him, and then I went outside, and I started feeling really like I couldn't stand up. And then we waited. Mike came with a limo, drove us to Comac in his house. There was some conversation there. Sandy started getting really weird and overtly sexual, and it made me really uncomfortable. Putting on a show for the guys, and I'm like, not who I am. And he's like, I know who you are. He said something about something to do with the church and with the painting. And I'm like, uh huh. And he's like, nah, he's like, I had to see it with my own eyes. Now, I'm thinking to myself, and I'm dressed in business attire. Like, I was dressed like Merrill Lynch. I was dressed in my professional, like, going for a bank interview. That's how you show up. And you show no emotion whatsoever. So that's how I show up at his house. Um, and couldn't remember the limo ride, but got there and I was standing up in the kitchen. And then um, we talked briefly. I don't really remember what he looks like. No surprise. And then Peter taking me home in a taxi cab, and whatever weirdness went on, and whatever. I don't want to talk about it ever. Um, so nothing happened. I just went home, but I was really upset in the cab about how much I hated Jay, or how much I hated life with Jay. We just bought a house in Lake Grove. And then I got home to Jay, and I just told him how much I hated life with him. Um, right around the same time he tried murdering me. So, but again, I live alone with my son in this house with somebody who now just tried murdering me. And with this, I go to work. I'm in a building. I'm semi secure, I suppose. There's some corner office people that seem to have military, whatever, like affiliation. So there's a false sense of security that someone's in charge of security in the building. I'll be Vinnie Meyer. And then um, I go to work and then I get slashed. My stomach gets slashed, but that happened earlier. That happened previous to this because I had already had Benjamin, and then this weird getting woozy out of nowhere. Then I'm with Tia Frio, and we go to someplace in Bayshore, and I'm just sitting at a table with people I don't know. I never know anybody. Then when I walk in the room, and then I get stung in my side underneath where, like, the back strap to the brassiere would be, like right by my rib, my intercostal. No idea what that was. And then I black out that night. Then Diafrio invites these people over. Sarah tells me whatever she tells me. She's a family member and lives in Ronkonkoma. We go by the house, but we don't go in the house. That whole situation was a little strange, but whatever on that. Um, and then they were there, but then they had to leave. They saw whatever they saw. And then, like, her phone went dead, and there was no talking to her ever again. And I just continued my career at Chase. And I'm thinking to myself, if they were casing the house, what were they casing the house for? And I'm like, oh, right. There were old computer systems. Now, I don't do technology. I didn't even turn the computers on. But with Tia Frio came somebody called Bobby Gordon who was homeless. He came up from Florida. He called me a star person, so I know he's important somehow. Um, and that was it. He asked if he wanted to do some kind of whatever he does for a living. So he asked if I had a computer. I said, I have to go fish it out of the closet or whatever. I was like, because I don't use them. And so I found one. And so he was using the computer, doing whatever he was doing while he was trying to get on his feet because he'd just come back from Florida and he was staying in a room. Um, but again, this is like part of this blacksmith thing. Like, I didn't ask for this. I don't know how to get out of this. I don't understand why this is allowed to go on. And then I'm thinking, I'm like, SEC is where I was under that umbrella in that office venue every day in Great Neck. And I'm like, SAI, such a security analyst, like an investigator or an investigation that was opened. Because I know what they said that Kelly does and who he works with on the outside of whatever, whatever, whatever. Or at least that's what the cover story was then. So that's whatever. But there's this reoccurring theme that's really concerning of I keep getting harmed and injected with only thing I can think of is anesthetic of some sort. I don't know what it is because I mean I'm not that level of doctor. I'm not an anesthesiologist, but it is like being hunted in your own homeland and not knowing how, where you're safe, who will protect you, feeling like you're nobody gives a shit. And then the two male marriage certificates that are on file because there's some form of child that arrived at the same time they were in the same vicinity and you don't even know. I mean, like, these aren't real marriages. This is this new disgusting broken America. And not because I chose this. It's like a string of events being forced into so somebody else gets answers or gives answers to whoever needs them in some hierarchy, but never knowing if like you're gonna, I mean, like, who's coming in the house at night. Scary thought, but I mean it's not something that I try to dwell on. um, but there's been a string of these events since high school that have happened here on Long Island. It's not something I've ever heard talked about on TV. I've seen movies that reference it. Um, but where do you report it? Like, I mean, it's not like you go to your local NYPD. NYPD is like part of the problem because he works there. So where do you go? Who do you talk to? I don't talk to my parents. Like, what would the purpose of that be? But there's been this string, and not that I dwell on it, not that I think about it, not that I live in this like fearful whatever, but I don't know how to, like, what to do with it. It happened. It keeps happening. I'm hoping it's not going to happen in the future, but it's nothing is as it seems. Nothing is right. And the way that normal humans live is not how I've been allowed to exist while I'm here. I don't know why. So after the Havana thing, when I went to Stony Brook, and then they sent me somewhere else, and they assigned me some guy named Felix. He didn't. I don't think that he drugged me. I was inside a facility on like secure watch. Um, but again, there were a few characters in there that tried to get close. I guess assess the situation, assess my mental status, which my mental status is fine. It's just there's some really crazy characters that operate in and around Long Island and around the world, and I have no idea what their modus operandi is. But I seem to get stuck and hurt a lot, and I'm not quite sure why or who needs to know and how to protect myself. And it's been going on since I was a teenager. So talk about people who know things and people who could change the world like that. Save a woman like me out of this situation like that. They exist. I just have no idea what they exist for. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxies broken. And I'm in Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. Yesterday, there was a president who walked into Bayside area, Bayside Village, Bayside Station. I call it Bayside Station because there's a train station which is MTA LIRR relatable. That's where I got the new. I have the United States of America flag, I have the Excelsior flag, and then a brand new pattern that I had never seen before. But it has ties. It looks like it has ties to Beppe, um, and whatever that means, and whatever, in KNH and Hofstra, and I don't think that's the region he came from, but it would make sense. On Ancestry, on the most basic of ancestries, like look-ups, because it's completely blocked from my ability to see things. Department of Homeland Security got involved when somebody called me to tell me to look, that people were trying to send me letters, people were trying to get in touch with me. I had no idea what that meant. Right after Alexander was born, I had no access to their mail, I had no access to their letters, I had no access to their attempts to reach out to me. I still don't have access to that. But when I do a search off of, like, Alexander gave me a like my heritage or whatever DNA sample to send away, which I did, just to get the region of the world where my blood is from. It then said that the most amount of Cataruzzas, I think, live in Finland, which I thought was really, really interesting. It never dawned on me because, I mean, Lynn and Lou just said Italy and Ireland. That was it. That's all they knew. And then America. So that's where I'm at on September 30th, 2022, and what memories I can string together, trying to figure out. I mean, I know it's not a normal scenario. I don't know anybody else who's gone out and repeatedly been anesthetized and woken up either back at their house or around people who pretend it didn't happen. Which, of course, makes one feel and look like as if they're crazy, but they're not. And there are witnesses that are out there